You're going to yawn reading this. You might already be doing it. You probably don't know why. Everyone yawns. Humans, lions, parakeets, and babies still in the womb. And science still doesn't have one single agreed explanation for it. Here's what actually happens in your body when you yawn. Your mouth opens wider than almost any other movement your face makes. You inhale deeply, stretching your lungs and the muscles around your chest. Then you exhale slowly, and sometimes your eyes water. You didn't decide to do any of that. The signal came from the brainstem, the oldest, most automatic part of your brain. The brainstem controls breathing, heart rate, swallowing, all without asking you. Yawning works the same way. It fires without your permission. For decades, the explanation everyone used was simple. Your brain needs more oxygen, so you yawn to bring it in. It was a logical explanation. It was also completely wrong. In the 1980s, a researcher named Robert Provine decided to test it directly. He gave people high levels of the waste gas your body normally breathes out. Their yawning rate didn't change. He gave them pure oxygen to breathe. Their yawning rate still didn't change. Yawning has nothing to do with correcting your oxygen levels. That idea has been wrong for decades, and most people still believe it. The leading explanation today is something very different. Your brain is the most energy-hungry organ in your body. It generates significant heat while it works. When the brain heats up, it needs to cool down. And yawning appears to be one of the ways it does that. When you yawn, the wide jaw stretch increases blood flow to your face and neck. The deep breath brings cool air into the inside of your nose and mouth. Cooler blood then circulates toward the brain. Researchers measured this in rats. Brain temperature spiked just before a yawn and dropped immediately after. Yawning works like a radiator for your brain. Newer research also suggests it may help clear waste products from the brain. That also explains something you may have noticed. You yawn more when you're tired, bored, or when the environment around you changes. Those are all situations where the brain needs to manage its own temperature carefully. Your jaw stretch also opens the tubes that connect to your inner ear. That's why you often yawn when a plane changes altitude. But cooling is only part of the story. It resets your brain's alertness. When you yawn, your heart rate increases. Blood flow to the brain goes up. Brain activity gets a brief boost. This is why yawning happens right before you fall asleep and right after you wake up. And during the long, flat stretches in the middle of a monotonous task. Athletes have been observed yawning right before a race. It isn't nerves, it's the brain resetting for what comes next. Yawning tells your brain to get ready. Yawning isn't a sign of tiredness. It's a sign your brain is actively working to stay at its best. A cooling system. A reset button. In one automatic jaw stretch. But none of this explains the strangest part. Why does someone else's yawn trigger yours? Your brain doesn't need to cool down because someone near you yawned. There's no obvious reason for this to happen. And yet it happens to almost everyone. Your brain contains cells called mirror neurons. They sit in the part of the brain that plans and rehearses movement. They fire when you perform an action. They also fire when you watch someone else perform that same action. Your brain partially rehearses what it observes. When you see someone yawn, those cells activate. The brain starts rehearsing the movement. And that rehearsal is sometimes enough to trigger a real yawn. Brain scans have confirmed this. Seeing a yawn activates the same regions used to understand other people's actions. But here's where it becomes personal. You don't catch yawns equally from everyone. You're more likely to catch a yawn from someone you're close to, much less likely from a stranger. Children under 4 or 5 don't show strong contagious yawning. That's exactly the age when they begin to understand that other people have inner lives. People with traits linked to lower empathy show significantly less contagious yawning. This has been replicated across multiple studies. The more connected you are to someone, the more likely their yawn triggers yours. Humans also automatically mirror the gestures and posture of people they feel close to. Yawning appears to follow that same automatic pattern. Contagious yawning is an empathy signal, which raises the deeper question: why does this wiring exist at all? The answer goes back a very long way. In early human groups, contagious yawning may have been a survival tool. If one member of the group began to lose alertness, the yawn would spread. Everyone in the group reset at the same moment. A group that stays in sync is far harder to catch off guard. Your brain is still running that same program today. When someone near you yawns, your brain registers a change in the group's alertness, and it adjusts to match. A few more details worth knowing. Babies yawn in the womb as early as the first 3 months of pregnancy, long before any tiredness is possible. Yawning was always a biological reflex, never just a response to being sleepy. Most animals don't just yawn, they also stretch at the same time. That full yawn and stretch combination prepares the brain and body together for whatever comes next. Dogs and chimpanzees also experience contagious yawning. The social bonding function of yawning extends beyond our own species. The next time your jaw drops and your eyes water, that isn't laziness. That's a very old machine, doing exactly what it was built to do. And if someone nearby catches it, you just felt something ancient at work. Something that kept groups alive for a very long time. See you in the next one.